better and for worse, movie marketing is all about manipulation, with studios desperately trying to convince audiences that their latest glossy tentpole is actually worth spending money on. And often, studios will go to deceptive lengths to get butts in seats, even flat out lying about the content of a movie in order to bolster its box office potential. I mean, we all saw Spring Breakers. None of us wanted to see the real Spring Breakers, but we all suffered that wound. You can already see something similar happening in upcoming movies too. Many fans seem convinced that they've pegged the plot twist for each of these films, yet if rumours and supposed leaks are true, the filmmakers are actually pulling a different sleight of hand from their magic box altogether. So let's take a look at what might be coming if we stick our prophetic hats on, shall we? Just bear in mind that you can't blame me for spoilers when I accidentally predict the future. I am the lonely Vegas magician, Ash from What Culture, and these are 8 upcoming movies that are tricking you, but not how you think. 8. Steve Trevor is revived by Hades. Wonder Woman 1984. With the seemingly deceased Steve Trevor set to return in the upcoming Wonder Woman sequel, it is clear that something fishy is abound. Most are theorizing that the Steve Trevor pictured in promotional materials for Wonder Woman 1984 may actually be Steve Trevor's grandson, with Steve having fathered a child before dying at the end of the first film. But what is the real trick behind this contextless Trevor then? If recent supposed plot information is correct, it actually seems like he will indeed be resurrected. It's been heavily speculated that Pedro Pascal's unnamed but smooth-talking politician will offer to resurrect Steve in exchange for Diana tracking down an artifact for him. If rumors are to be believed, and in this case they certainly are, then Pascal is in fact a god in disguise, and none other than Hades, the god of death and the underworld himself. With Chris Pine recently commenting that Steve Trevor won't be appearing in Wonder Woman 3, it would make sense that the character would get a temporary, tragic revival in Wonder Woman 84, only to be spirited away once again when Diana inevitably defeats both Hades and Cheetah. 7. It's actually set between Civil War and Infinity War. Black Widow. With the Black Widow prequel movie set to start shooting later this summer, there has been intense speculation about exactly when it will be set. As Avengers Endgame brought the character's present-day arc to a close, it seemed fitting that a solo movie would follow a much younger Natasha Romanoff in her formative days as an assassin. Hell, post-Endgame, some even suspected that Johansson wouldn't appear in the movie at all, and the already cast Florence Pugh would play a young version of the character as she partook in the Soviet brainwashing program known as the Red Room. But, dear watchers, in a recent interview, Sebastian Stan seems to have let slip the juicy tidbit that it actually appears to be set much closer to the MCU's present, taking place between Captain America Civil War and Avengers Infinity War. This time period makes a lot more sense on a technical level too, as setting the film 15 to 20 years prior would require Johansson to be digitally de-aged for the entire movie. 6. Palpatine isn't really alive. Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. The shocking final stinger in the first teaser trailer for Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker seemed to flatly suggest that Emperor Palpatine is very much alive and will be making a glorious return to battle Rey and company in the movie. Many have speculated about the precise nature of Palpatine's resurrection, with the common theory being that Matt Smith's mystery character is in fact a reincarnated young Palpatine. However, leaks from a reliable Star Wars fan site indicate that Smith will not be playing Palpatine himself, but a dark side acolyte, who willingly allows himself to be possessed by the Force spirit of the Emperor. It's basically a storytelling compromise, avoiding the pure, unfettered fan service of magically resurrecting the long-dead Emperor, but nevertheless allowing his presence to be, palpably, felt through a new vessel. As such, don't expect to see much, if anything, of Matt Smith in the marketing leading up to the movie's release, assuming that this plot point will be kept under wraps until it hits cinemas. 5. The mole is anyone but Liam Neeson. Men in Black International. The trailers for Men in Black International make it clear that Agent H and Agent M are teaming up to take down a mole within the organisation. And just about everybody is convinced that said mole will turn out to be the head of the UK Men in Black branch, High T. It certainly makes a lot of sense on paper. Neeson could have a lot of fun with a part like this, and it would explain why he's been cast in what otherwise seems like a totally throwaway extended cameo role. This is such an obvious twist that it has to be a swerve, right? One sincerely hopes that the film is exploiting the audience's low expectations and setting them up for the reveal that, in fact, another character is the mole. There's one particularly obvious candidate, and that is Agent O, who of course was introduced in the third Men in Black film. Emma Thompson certainly has the chops to play a scenery-chewing baddie. It'll lend interesting context to the previous film, and let's face it, I'm sorry to say it, there aren't enough awesome female villains in blockbuster movies as it is. Otherwise, there is the insane yet distinctly unlikely possibility that Agent H is himself the mole, setting up a sequel where Agent M teams up with High T. Unless the studio really screwed the pooch marketing this thing, there is no chance Liam Neeson is really the mole, right? 4. Bo Peep is not a secret villain. Toy Story 4. After the last trailer for Toy Story 4 landed, speculation intensified that Pixar was going to drop an epic plot twist on fans, that Bo Peep will end up being the sequel's villain. Given that Bo was absent in Toy Story 3, and this clearly had a profound effect on Woody, filling in the story behind her absence would certainly make her a mighty, morally ambiguous baddie. As plausible as this all sounds though, a recent leak of Toy Story 4's storybook reveals that Bo is not in any way an antagonist, and the real villain of the movie is in fact Gabby Gabby, a vintage toy with a broken voice box who has grown bitter over the decades. Disney have proven themselves masters of deceptive marketing over the years, and hinting at Bo's potential villainy is simply an attempt to steer audiences away from realizing that Gabby, who is shown to be plenty mischievous in the trailers, is all the villain that they get. 3. Jessica Chastain is playing a totally new character, Dark Phoenix. It's fair to say that most X-Men fans aren't expecting much more than mediocrity from this final effort into Fox's core X-Men franchise. And by far the most intriguing narrative thread relates to the identity of Jessica Chastain's antagonist. After initial reports suggested that Chastain will be playing the Empress of the Shi'ar Empire, who appeared in the Dark Phoenix saga comic, both Chastain and writer-director Simon Kinberg denied this, and Fox still hasn't given the character a name. This has prompted speculation that Chastain will be playing a secret comic book villain, with her character described as an alien shapeshifter and the Skrulls being involved in the Dark Phoenix comic. Fan consensus seems to have landed on Skrull Empress Raquel. Really though, Dark Phoenix has had countless test screenings over the last year, resulting in numerous plot leaks online, many of which are now invalid due to the film's heavily reshot third act. But one aspect of the film which reportedly remains unchanged is that Chastain's character is never actually named over the course of the film, and she absolutely isn't playing a beloved comic book antagonist of any kind. Piecing together scant leaks and rumours, it seems highly likely that Chastain's villain is simply a physical embodiment of the Phoenix Force, as would explain her playing a pivotal role in unleashing the full destructive potential of Jean Grey's abilities. 2. Mysterio won't become the villain, at least not yet. Spider-Man Far From Home. The first post-Endgame trailer for Spider-Man Far From Home is jam-packed with surprises. Not least that the film appears to be depicting Quentin Beck, aka Mysterio, as a heroic character who helps out Nick Fury and became a mentor to Peter Parker. This, of course, runs counter to his antagonistic role in the comics, prompting most fans to assume that there will be a mid-film turn in which Beck's villainy is revealed, leading to a climactic battle between himself and Peter. Marvel Studios has gotten extremely good at misleading audiences by layering twists on top of other twists though, and a simple Mysterio villain reveal doesn't really seem smart enough. However, it now seems that there may be a double twist of sorts, and Mysterio will indeed remain a heroic character for the entire movie, with his turn being saved for the third MCU Spider-Man film instead. In a recent interview, producer Eric Carroll discussed the Mysterio issue and stated they wanted to give Beck time with Peter to really sell the eventual betrayal, while comparing his characterization to Doctor Strange's Baron Mordo, who only turned heel in the closing moments of that movie. It's definitely likely that Far From Home will at least hint at Beck's villainous potential. But unless Carroll is simply trying to tie fans up in knots here, his comments seem to suggest that we won't get a third act CGI battle between Spidey and Mysterio. Given that an actor of Jake Gyllenhaal's caliber could certainly do brilliant things with Mysterio as a recurring character, it makes all the sense in the world not to rinse him out on a single film. 1. Idris Elba is actually a secret henchman. Hobbs and Shaw. It's fair to say that the Fast and the Furious franchise generally gives audiences exactly what they expect. Ridiculous CGI-fueled action, cheeseball melodrama, and Vin Diesel espousing the importance of family every 5 seconds. And the trailers for Hobbs and Shaw suggest another bonkers addition to the series that delivers precisely what fans are craving, even if there are certainly some questions surrounding the precise nature of Idris Elba's villain, Brixton. Though Brixton is a seemingly unstoppable, genetically enhanced super soldier, there are many fans who believe he'll somehow be brought into the fold by the end of the movie, being recruited to join Hobbs and Shaw for the inevitable sequel. Given that both Hobbs and Shaw themselves were previously at odds with Dom's crew before joining them in the main franchise, it certainly has precedent. If Shaw can be forgiven for murdering Han, then why not Brixton for all the mayhem he causes in this movie? If reports are to be believed, the end of Hobbs and Shaw will in fact reveal that Brixton was really just a henchman, albeit an extremely skilled one, for the real antagonist, played by none other than Keanu Reeves. Reeves has apparently filmed a small scene, most likely a post-credit stinger, which will set him up as the big bad in the spin-off series. Given that the director also co-directed the first John Wick, it makes a decent amount of sense, really. And now if Reeves somehow doesn't appear in the film, people are gonna be pissed. And people is me. And that's our list. What other tricks do you think upcoming movies are going to pull on us? Share your findings in the comments section below. I've been Ash, and this has been What Culture. Make sure to subscribe to the What Culture YouTube channel for more lists like this. And don't forget to visit whatculture.com for daily news and articles. Thanks for watching.